There is a battle raging, not with fists, not with fire, but with the quiet, unyielding force of the human heart. You see, in this world of noise and ego, there are those who feed on attention, who twist love into control, who demand worship like kings of empty thrones. They are the narcissists, chasing shadows of greatness, blind to the light of truth. But tonight, I tell you, only a super empath can destroy a narcissist. Why? Because when the world bows, the empath sees. When others cower, the empath feels. And when the narcissist strikes, the empath loves, not with weakness, but with a strength that shatters lies. The narcissist's greatest fear isn't defiance, it's being known. Known in their brokenness, known in their hunger, known by someone who refuses to hate them, but also refuses to let them win. The empath walks into the storm armed with grace, and grace is the one weapon pride cannot defeat. It disarms. It disrupts. It says, I see you, but I will not become you. And in that moment, the narcissist's delusion crumbles, because darkness cannot drown out a soul that refuses to stop shining. So tonight, if you've ever felt too soft, too tender, too wounded by this hard world, hear this. Your heart isn't your weakness. It's your victory. Oh. The world doesn't need more coldness. It needs you, brave enough to love, wise enough to walk away, and strong enough to destroy evil without ever lifting a hand. That is power. There is a force in this world stronger than any weapon, mightier than any army, and more unstoppable than the fiercest storm. It is not forged in steel or written in laws. It is born in the human heart. It is empathy, the sacred ability to feel another's pain, to carry their sorrow, to see their brokenness and still choose love. And tonight, I tell you with absolute certainty, only this kind of deep, unshakable empathy can tear down the walls of narcissism and destroy the poison of pride. You see, a narcissist builds their kingdom on one thing: control. They manipulate, they charm, they demand worship because deep down they are terrified of being exposed. They fear being seen for what they truly are, empty. And so they surround themselves with people who feed their ego, who play their games, who give them power. But there is one kind of person they cannot control, one kind of soul they cannot break. The super empath. Why? Because the empath does not fight fire with fire. They do not scream back. They do not play the game. Instead, they do something far more dangerous. They understand. They look past the narcissist's rage, past their arrogance, past their cruel words, and they see the wounded child hiding inside. And that is the one thing the narcissist cannot bear. A narcissist can handle hatred. They can twist anger, use it as fuel, turn it into another drama where they are the victim. But love, real love, the kind that refuses to hate, refuses to play along, but also refuses to enable them. That is the nightmare. Because empathy does not surrender, it sees. It does not attack, it disarms. It does not crumble, it stands firm. And in the face of such unbreakable compassion, the narcissist's illusions begin to crack. Think of it like this. A man stands in a room screaming, demanding attention, demanding praise, demanding fear. And for a while, the world gives it to him. But then enters the empath, silent, steady, unshaken. They do not flinch at the shouting. They do not kneel at the demands. Instead, they look into his eyes and say, I see you. I see your pain, and I will not let you hurt me. But that is the moment everything changes, because the narcissist thrives on chaos. They need the fight, the drama, the emotional storm. But empathy is a mirror, freeing. It reflects back the truth they've spent their whole life running from, that they are not gods, not kings, not invincible, just hurting people who never learned how to love. And when that truth hits them, their power starts to crumble. But here's what you must understand. This is not weakness. This is not letting them win. This is the most powerful form of resistance there is. Because true empathy does not mean allowing abuse. It does not mean staying in the fire. It means loving from a distance if you must. It means setting boundaries without guilt. It means walking away without hatred. And in that refusal to hate, in that refusal to be pulled into their darkness, you strip them of their greatest weapon, your reaction. So tonight, if you have ever been called a too sensitive, if you have ever been told your heart is a too soft, if you have ever felt crushed under the weight of a narcissist's games, hear me now. Your empathy is not your weakness. It is your superpower. The world needs people who feel deeply, who love fiercely, who refuse to become cruel, no matter how cruel the world is to them. Because hatred is easy, indifference is easy. But to look into the eyes of someone who has hurt you and still choose compassion, that takes a strength the narcissist will never have. And that is how you win. Not by destroying them, but by refusing to let them destroy you. So rise up, empaths. Stand firm in your love. Stand bold in your truth. And watch as the walls of pride tremble before the unstoppable force of a heart that refuses to harden. There is a moment, a single earth-shaking moment, when a narcissist comes face to face with their own reflection. Not the polished, perfect image they show the world, not the carefully crafted mask of charm and confidence, but the real them. The broken, trembling, insecure soul hiding beneath all the noise. And in that moment, something inside them shatters. Because their greatest fear is not being hated, not being ignored, not even being abandoned. Their greatest fear, the one thing that sends chills down their spine, is being truly seen. You see, narcissists spend their whole lives running from the truth, running from their past. Running from the hollow emptiness inside them that no amount of praise, no amount of control, no amount of manipulation can ever fill. They build empires of lies, fortresses of false confidence, armies of people who worship them. Not because they are strong, but because they are terrified of being exposed. And the only force on this earth that can tear down those walls is not anger, not revenge, not brute force, but understanding. You could breathe. Think about that. The one thing they cannot stand is someone looking into their eyes and saying, I see you. I see the pain you're hiding. I see the child inside you who never felt loved enough. That look, that knowing is like kryptonite to their soul. Because their whole game depends on illusion. They need you to believe they are larger than life, untouchable, invincible. But when an empath truly sees them, when someone looks past the performance and into the raw, unfiltered truth of who they are, that is the end of their power. Why? Because a narcissist can fight hatred. They can twist love into obsession. They can turn indifference into a challenge. But being understood, that is the one thing they cannot control. They don't know what to do with it. It doesn't feed their ego. It dissolves it. It doesn't give them supply. It starves them. Because deep down in the places they refuse to acknowledge, they know the truth. They are not special. They are not superior. They are just hurt people who never learned how to heal. And here's the beautiful, unstoppable power of the empath. They don't even have to say anything. Sometimes it's just a look, a quiet knowing, a refusal to play along with the drama. Narcissists will rage. They will manipulate, they will try every trick in the book to pull the empath back into their game. But if the empath stays calm, if they keep seeing, if they refuse to look away from the truth, that is when the narcissist mask begins to crack. Because the narcissist's entire world is built on one desperate need to be admired, but never known, to be worshipped, but never seen. And the moment someone truly sees them, not the false image, but the wounded soul beneath, their whole illusion collapses. They may lash out. They may try to destroy the person who dared to see through them. But make no mistake, that rage is not strength. It is panic. It is the terrified scream of someone who realizes for the first time that their armor was never real. This is why empaths are so dangerous to narcissists. Not because they fight, but because they understand. Not because they attack, but because they refuse to pretend. Oh, and that silent, steady, unshakable awareness is the one thing the narcissist cannot defeat. So if you have ever been targeted by a narcissist, if you have ever felt their wrath for daring to see the truth, if you have ever been punished for being too perceptive, know this. You held up a mirror they couldn't bear to face, and that is not your failure. It is their weakness. Oh, the world will try to tell you that narcissists are invincible, that they cannot be stopped, that the only way to survive is to play their game or run. But I am here to tell you the truth. Their greatest fear is you, the one who sees, the one who knows, the one who refuses to look away. So stand firm, keep seeing, keep knowing, and watch as the walls of illusion crumble before the power of truth. There is a weapon so powerful it can silence the loudest rage, disarm the cruelest words, and dismantle the most carefully constructed lies. It doesn't require force. It doesn't demand revenge. It doesn't stoop to hatred. This weapon is love, not the fragile, fleeting kind, but the fierce, unshakable kind that refuses to bend, even in the storm. And when this love is wielded by an empath against a narcissist, it doesn't just disrupt their game, it destroys it. You see, a narcissist feeds on chaos. They crave the drama, the emotional explosions, the back and forth of conflict because it gives them control. They know exactly how to twist anger, how to use guilt, how to turn tears into weapons. But love? Real love. The kind that stays calm in the face of their storms, that looks at their cruelty and still chooses kindness. That is the one thing they don't know how to fight. Because love doesn't play by their rules. Love doesn't react. It responds. And in that space between reaction and response, the narcissist's power crumbles. Imagine this. A narcissist hurls insults, trying to provoke a reaction. They want the tears, the shouting, the desperate attempt to defend yourself. That's their fuel. But instead, they're met with silence. Not the silence of fear, but the silence of strength. Then with steady eyes you say, I won't let your words change how I see myself. In that moment, their words lose power. Their manipulation fails. Oh, because you didn't give them what they wanted. You gave them something they can't understand. Unbreakable love for yourself, that's the secret. The narcissist expects hatred. They know how to use it, how to spin it into more drama, how to make themselves the victim. But when you refuse to hate them, when you refuse to let their poison into your heart, that's when they start to unravel. Because love, true love, is a boundary. It says you can scream, you can lie, you can try to hurt me, but I will not let you make me cruel. And that defiance, that refusal to become like them, is what breaks their spell. This isn't about letting them off the hook. This isn't about pretending their actions don't hurt. It's about something far more revolutionary, loving yourself too much to let them change you. The narcissist wants you to doubt your worth, to question your sanity, to beg for their approval. But when you love yourself anyway, when you treat yourself with the kindness they refuse to give, you take away their greatest weapon, your self-doubt. And here's the most powerful truth of all. Love doesn't mean staying. Love doesn't mean allowing abuse. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for them is to walk away, because real love doesn't enable toxicity. It disarms it. When you walk away with peace in your heart, when you refuse to carry their hatred with you, you prove that their darkness has no hold on you. And that is a victory no narcissist can ever take from you. So if you've ever been told that love means enduring pain, that kindness means weakness, that forgiveness means surrender, I'm here to tell you the truth. Love is the most powerful weapon you have. Not the love that begs for crumbs, but the love that stands tall. Not the love that bleeds, but the love that heals. The narcissist may have taken many things from you, but they can never take your ability to love unless you let them. So love fiercely, love boldly, love in a way that shakes the foundations of their control. Because when they see that their cruelty couldn't kill your light, that's the moment they realize they never stood a chance. The world will try to tell you that your sensitivity is a weakness, that feeling too much makes you fragile, that caring too deeply leaves you defenseless. But I am here to shout the truth from the rooftops. Your depth of feeling is not your downfall. It is your superpower. What others dismiss as too emotional, what narcissists try to exploit as vulnerability, is actually the very thing that makes you unstoppable. Because while they build walls, you build bridges. While they manipulate, you heal. While they take, you give. And that giving, that boundless capacity to love and understand is the force that will ultimately dismantle their dust. Think about it. What is the one thing a narcissist cannot do? Truly connect. They can mimic emotions. They can perform love. They can charm and flatter and pretend, but they cannot feel the way you do. They cannot sit with someone in their pain without turning it into an opportunity for control. They cannot celebrate another's joy without feeling envy. But you can dive into the deepest oceans of human emotion and not drown. You can hold space for sorrow without running from it. You can love without demanding anything in return. That is not weakness, my friend. That is rare and breathtaking strength. They want surface-level connections because depth terrifies them. They want followers, not equals, people who reflect back their false image, not people who see through it. But when they encounter an empath, they meet someone who refuses to stay shallow. Someone who looks past the performance and reaches for the truth. And that is their worst nightmare, because your ability to feel deeply means you cannot be fooled for long. Your intuition picks up on their lies. Your heart senses their emptiness. And your compassion, the very thing they tried to use against you, becomes the light that exposes their shadows. Here's what they don't understand about you. Your emotions are not a liability. They are your guidance system. And when something feels off, you notice. When love is real or fake, you know. While others are charmed by the narcissist's act, you feel the hollowness beneath it. And that instinct, that deep emotional intelligence, is what protects you. It's what helps you walk away when others stay trapped. It's what allows you to grieve the relationship and still choose yourself. That is not fragility. That is fierce, unshakable power. And here's the most beautiful part. Your strength doesn't just protect you, it transforms the world around you. Narcissists drain light, but you create it. Where they bring chaos, you bring peace. Where they sow doubt, you plant hope. Every time you choose kindness over cruelty, every time you respond to hatred with grace, every time you refuse to let their bitterness harden your heart, you prove that love is stronger. You prove that feeling deeply is not a flaw, but a revolution. So if you've ever been told you're too much, too caring, too intense, too emotional, I need you to hear this. The world doesn't need less of your heart. It needs more. It needs people who refuse to go numb, who refuse to stop loving, who refuse to trade their humanity for self-protection. That's what makes you dangerous to narcissists. Not your anger, not your revenge, but your unbreakable love. They can handle fighters. What they can't handle is someone who still loves after seeing the worst of them. So feel deeply, empath. Feel proudly. Your tears are not a sign of defeat. They are proof you haven't let the world make you cold. Your heart is not a burden. It is a force. And every time you choose to feel in a world that tries to numb you, you win. Oh, not the battle they wanted you to fight, but the war they never saw coming. The war for your soul. And darling, your soul is unconquerable. There comes a moment, a sacred, powerful moment, when an empath finally realizes, I don't have to play this game anymore. No more walking on eggshells. No more twisting yourself into knots to please someone who can't be pleased. No more begging for crumbs of love from someone who only knows how to starve you. That moment, that glorious awakening, is where the narcissist's power ends and your freedom begins. Because the truth is this, narcissists don't win by being stronger, they win by convincing you to play by their rules. But when you step off their battlefield, when you refuse to dance to their chaos, that's when you take back your power. Think about how their games work. They bait you with silence and you chase them for answers. They criticize you, and you scramble to prove them wrong. They play the victim, and you rush to comfort them, even when you're the one who's hurt. It's exhausting, isn't it? That's because it's designed to be. They keep you running in circles, always reacting, always trying to fix what they broke. But here's the life-changing truth. You don't have to react. You don't have to explain yourself to someone who's determined to misunderstand you. You don't have to defend your heart to someone who's only looking for weaknesses to exploit. This is where your strength as an empath shines brightest. You see the game, you feel the manipulation, and now you choose not to play. Then, imagine this. The narcissist throws their usual jab, waiting for you to flinch, but this time you don't. You stay calm, you stay steady, you don't give them the outburst they crave, the tears they feed on, the drama that makes them feel powerful. Instead, you give them silence, you give them space. You give them nothing to work with, and in that void, their tricks fall flat. Their control slips, because without your reaction, they have no power. This isn't about winning an argument. It's about transcending the need to argue at all. Narcissists live for conflict. It's how they feel alive, how they distract from their own emptiness. But when you refuse to engage, when you look at their tantrums and think, that's not my circus, and those aren't my monkeys, that's when you break the cycle for good. You stop feeding the beast and slowly it starves. And here's the most liberating part. When you stop playing their games, you start playing your own. Instead of wasting energy on their nonsense, you pour it into your dreams. Instead of obsessing over their approval, you build a life so full of joy that their opinion doesn't matter. That's how you win, not by fighting them, but by outliving them. Not by changing their mind, but by freeing your own. So if you're tired of the mind games, tired of the roller coaster, tired of giving your peace to someone who only wants to disrupt it, hear this. You hold the power to stop it, not by changing them, but by changing how you respond. Every time you choose peace over drama, every time you walk away instead of engaging, every time you laugh instead of cry, you reclaim a piece of yourself they tried to take. This is your revolution. No grand confrontation, no fiery speeches, just quietly refusing to play. And one day when you look back, you'll realize the game ended the moment you decided it wasn't worth your time. The narcissist may keep spinning in circles, but you've already moved on to brighter things. And that, my friend, is the sweetest victory of all.